Tony, hello.
Hello, how are you?
Hi, I'm Jordan White, and these are my parents, David White Sr. and Patty White. They've been married for 35 years, and they've been honored to share this classic with me over the past 20 years.
That's great. Nice to meet you both.
Nice to meet you too, sir.
So, Jordan, you love this movie, I guess, or is it one of your
Oh
favorites?
yeah, I watch it. I watch it every year.
Oh, I do too. Believe me, I watch it every Christmas Eve, absolutely, without question, with my family. It is my favorite movie for sure.
Oh man, I mean, you can tell I have a T-shirt about it, and even a Funko figure too. And
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
Funko.
fantastic.
Mhm.
Wonderful.
Okay, so some people might well, Tony Lazarowicz, guys, is the special effects coordinator for
That's right.
Elf, and
That-
some of you might be wondering what that actually means because we're in a wild market or something like that. Well, it's apparently he creates stuff that happens all in front of a camera. So he fakes the weather and blows stuff up, and he also builds things. And I I don't really know if you know this, but there's like this show I love as a kid called Thomas the Tank Engine. They had the little toy trains with the models and the eyes that move like like that, you know. Um,
yeah.
you're able to make a sort of mechanical effect with the eyes moving or something like that.
hmm Yeah, that's exactly what
Oh,
we would do. That would be one of our jobs for sure.
oh
Yeah.
man,
And make
that
the
is
trains
just
move as well.
oh man, and then well, Tony guys, he has built like some props, or at least some illusions for this particular film, and he sold off some to Hollywood prop store, and I think I know why. It's because of this strike nonsense, or maybe you must have. I don't know. It's something.
Ask him.
Why did you sell them off? Why did you sell
You know
some
what?
off?
You know what? It was this, Jordan. It was they've been sitting on our shelves here at the shop where we build all of our illusions. And I just thought it would be better that somebody else gets to enjoy them because we had stuff from Elf, we had stuff from Friday the 13th, we have had stuff from all kinds of movies that we've worked on, and I've collected all these things. So we didn't even know the strike was going to happen before we put these items up for sale. It just kind of coincided that happened. So in some ways it was a bit of a good thing, but it was more about getting it out there to let other people enjoy them.
Okay, so the story goes that the how does a classic like this get made? Well, it turns out the writer of this film, well, he was Jewish, but he really loved Christmas specials, and there was one Christmas special he loved in particular, Rudolph, and it was made by Lincoln Bass and Arthur Lincoln Jr. This is actually his signature. I even got it signed by saying Dear Jordan. You could check out all the movies I made on book The Enchanted World of Rankin Bass. I'm that big of a fan to actually find him where he's located and get his mail signature like that. So the writer realized his own his he related to Rudolph's little struggle about being like a Jew trying to fit into Christmas, and then Rudolph being like a misfit with his red nose trying to fit into like a society that wasn't really the world's most inclusive. So he decided I'm gonna try to write a movie about that. Let's try, instead of a reindeer, let's try an elf. Let's say this elf is actually a human, and he's trying to find his place in the real world, and and somehow is able to still keep in touch with the North Pole and stuff. Of course, the first attempt, he came up with something like Motion Picture Corporation of America producers. It's kind of a weird name, but he let that contract expire because they wanted Chris Farley to play Buddy. Apparently, that was not what he wanted. He wanted Will Ferrell to do it. He tailor-made it for Will Ferrell, and Will Ferrell, he thought Will Ferrell was funny on SNL, which I don't really watch, but you get the idea. So then suddenly New Line Cinema comes in, or at least an executive suddenly finds out about this script. New Line Cinema at the time was owned by Time Warner, and they were known for Nightmare on Elm Street and Dumb and Dumber. So not family movies, but well, a horror movie and a watching comedy. But you got the point. So so the executive found out about the script and liked it, or at least he went off a chain to pass on to Will Ferrell, and Will Ferrell was like, "Yeah, I'm doing this." So we got your star. So
Did you get to work with Will Ferrell yourself?
I certainly did. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I work very closely with the actors when I do a show, because on a show like Elf, I have to get the actors to interact with all the things that we build. So I have to teach them how to use them safely, or get their opinion on how it could be funnier. For example, Will was the biggest idea giver when it came to how to make things funnier. We would come up with an idea and we'd show him, and he'd go, "Well, that's great, but can I do this? Well, could you make it do that?" And I go, "Of course we can make it do anything you want it to, Will. Like, it's all about you." And so, for example, when they're sitting inside the toy store and he's doing all the decorations inside, and there's all that montage of him doing things, and he's sitting there and he's cutting out the paper characters, and you see all the stuff flying up in front of his face and in between him and the lens. Well, that's me underneath with a little device that we have that shoots air, and I put a little piece of paper in there, and that was Will's idea. He said, "Why don't you just hide under here and it'll look like I'm cutting really, really fast?" And I went, "Sure, no problem." And it was a very simple ask, something that we just kind of came up on the day with, that he wanted. It worked perfectly. So it's little things like that, and all the actors on that show were just fabulous to work with. They were just lovely. But Will, of course, is the best.
Any other fun little stories like that one about specific scenes?
Oh yeah, I mean, like I say, Will is just a giving person, and by that I mean is the very first day that when we met Will, the crew, in the different jobs that we have, Will went up to everybody and just said, put his hand out and said, "Hi, my name's Will, and what's your name, and what do you do?" And after that, he remembered everybody's name. So he knew, just like you knew his name, he'd walk up and he'd say to me, "Good morning, Tony, how are you?" And I go, "Good, Will, how are you? This is nice to see you." And he would, we'd have obviously conversations in between takes. And he was great at listening to people say, "Well, it's my son's 5th birthday," or, "It's my wedding anniversary." And on Monday, he would come back and say, "How was your son's birthday on the weekend?" And be like, "How did you remember that?" Like, I talked about that weeks ago. And he's just that type of guy. So it made my job really easy to make him look funny, because he is just one of those people that, like I say, he's naturally funny, but he just brought out all the greatness in the character. Like, when we were inside the mailroom and he's playing with the device that sends the tube up. Well, we didn't have a real mailroom. We built that in an old car dealership. The car dealership had gone broke, and so we went in there and built this set, and those tubes have to get sucked out of someone's hand. Well, we didn't have the money to do that. So what I had to do was put a little piece of monofilament on it and pull it out of Will's hand every time he came close. So then Will had the idea of taking his face and doing it, "That's sucky. That's really, really sucky." And it was just little things like that Will did off the cuff. It was just not planned. It was just Will looking at the set and playing around and between takes, going, what could I do this? Could I do that? So he's really good at making it up. Like, he goes by what's written in the script, but he's great at improv. So it was a real joy.
Oh yeah, I can tell. I mean, so they were given like a limited budget of like $36 million just to make the movie, and they weren't gonna let Spielberg direct it because I think he might have been busy with other things, or Cameron, or all these big time directors or something like that. They decide, well, okay, maybe we can try something here. I have a friend. His name is Jon Favreau, like the actor. Like what? An actor? Jon Favreau? Yeah, because my Dallas, my brother-in-law, he knows him for playing like Happy on and in this movie, Jon Favreau is like, I'm the doctor. And I don't think gives a finger prick.
Listen, he wants to say.
Yeah, I was going to say that, Jon Favreau, again, was a very, very nice. I've worked with a lot of really big directors. I've been very fortunate over my career to work with a lot of famous directors. And Jon Favreau, again, there's a person who is just a very giving person. By that I mean is he lets you come up with ideas, and they may not all be accepted, but he lets you explore what's the possibility. He just doesn't go, well, we're going to do this and only this. Because it's a comedy, and I like to do comedies, and I've done a lot of them. He recognized that in us, and we would show him tests. So we would do things, like the snowball fight. When the snowballs are going really, really fast, we tried to build a rig to do that for Will's arm, and it was really, really hard because it had to be Will looking normal and his arm going really, really fast. So we built something, and John's like, no, I just don't think that's going to work. So they used a camera trick in post-production to make it look like he was throwing the snowballs really fast. But he let us explore the idea. And that's half of what my job is about, is coming up with an idea that maybe isn't written, but it's something that myself and my team come up with after talking to actors, the director, the writer, and other people on the project. And that's where, the magic of this movie came from. Because as you said, Jordan, it wasn't a really, really big budget. And we had a lot of locations that had to have snow dressing on it. We came up with a new way to do snow dressing here in Vancouver that was quicker and cheaper to do. It was something that I was watching a landscaping crew work near where our business is one day, and they had this really massive truck that had all this bark mulch in it, and they had this long hose, and the hose had to be, 20 inches in diameter. And I asked the gentleman, I said, so what does that do? And he said, well, it takes all that bark mulch from the truck and it pushes it all the way down this hose 300 feet and it shoots it out. And so they can dress gardens and things like that. And I said, could I take fish ice and put it in your truck and see if it does the same thing? And he went, why? And I said, because I'm working on a movie and I think this is a better way to dress snow because it's going to be faster, because you're just dragging a hose around rather than having wheelbarrows and all these different people and tractors and dump trucks and craziness. So we did that, and we showed a test to everybody, and they loved it because it was low impact to the environment, meaning we didn't destroy the sets we were working on. Because some of the locations were, for example, where we shot Central Park in Vancouver, it is it's a protected woodland that has trees in it that just, we can't disturb the grass, only do things that nature would normally do, create wind that's normal, ice that's normal, and that kind of thing. So long story short, we create this new snow dressing effect, and it saved us tons of time and money for the show, but it looked amazing. And that's the little things that, like I say, on this job, we got to perfect. And to this day, this is what they do in Vancouver now. We either use the method that we came up with on that movie, or they go to paper snow if it's too hot in the summer. Because we were lucky. This movie was made. We made this movie in October, November, December, which was great because the weather is nice and cold. You can see the actor's breath when they're talking, all that kind of stuff. Again, saves the money because they don't have to do that in post. Add all those little things that make you feel cold, right? It was cold.
Well, it's kind of strange, but I apparently the reason why they shot in a lot of this film in Vancouver is because New York is one of the most expensive places in the world to shoot movies in. So in order to make a couple of things work when you see the montage of Will walking around New York City for the first time, that was pretty much it was done like guerrilla style. No one knew that they were making a movie. They were just kind of felt like they were doing guerrilla style. And the guy that Will thinks is Santa, he was just randomly there. He didn't know that that he was in the movie, but by golly.
So did you film the Rockefeller Center scene at Rockefeller Center?
Yes, you know what? Every New York exterior that you see, even parts of Central Park, and of course, all the big street scenes, Rockefeller Center, that was all shot in New York. And they did that in a really short amount of time. It was only a few weeks that they were in New York, and then they came to Vancouver to do the rest. So you're absolutely right, Jordan. Coming to Vancouver at the time was definitely the right choice for their budget because, they saved a lot of money, because the Canadian dollar versus the US dollar, it's still, that's why a lot of people come to Canada to shoot because they can get, as they say, more bang for their buck. So
what about this scene where Santa's sleigh goes over the statue in Columbus Circle? Was that in New York too?
that was a shot that we did partly in Vancouver and partly in New York. They shot all the shots of the statue as what they call as a plate shot. So there was no sleigh there. None of that was there.
Yeah.
And then we flew the sleigh here in Vancouver on what we call a hydraulic motion base. So what that is a we take a flight simulator hydraulic unit that pilots train on, and we've basically morphed it into what we can make it work with in film. So on Elf, we put the sleigh on there, and then we can get all those movements of it flying, and it's in the computer, so we can recreate those movements. So when it hit the statue, we created that, okay, it's going to hit and bounce. And then we created that little bounce in the hydraulic unit, and it all seams together. So it's a lot of times it's a lot of work by a lot of different people to get one very quick shot done on that your eye sees at the theater.
Yeah, well, I did see this in the theater like January 2004, oddly enough. I guess just missed seeing it during the Christmas season, but I did see it. I don't regret seeing it, and I still have the DVD. And I know it's on streaming services like Max and stuff. And I'm at the age right now where I feel like I should be sharing this movie with my kids. Like I'm like 32. I was only 12. I'm like 32 right now.
Nice. Yeah, absolutely. You know what? It doesn't matter what age you are, Jordan. It's a great movie to watch. I know that
it is.
Yeah,
I know lots of people that are a lot older than you and I'm not young, let's put it that way. But you know what? It's a kind of movie that everybody smiles when you talk about it. And when they say they saw it, they go, I love that movie. It's the funniest movie I've ever seen. It makes me feel so good. And it's so true. That's the beauty of this movie. And that's why people still talk about it today, because it's all good. There's just no bad in it. And that's what I loved about working on it. It's just such a nice
timeless too.
Oh yeah,
nice.
Definitely. The best way to spread Christmas cheer is singing loud for all to hear. As for how they made Buddy drink a liter of Coke, well, it's kind of complex, but apparently they didn't like. Ooh, I think he's going to show us.
So this part right here is a special rig that my team and I made up. And this would go here. I'll just like the bottle attaches to there. So we take the cap off, right? And then we put the bottle, Will grabs the bottle, and we put this part on the edge of Will's mouth on the off-camera side. So what it looks like is that he's chugging all this Coca-Cola, but it's going down all these hoses into a bucket that I was holding off camera. So he could, he never drank a drop of Coke all day, but he did the scene over and over and over. And it worked perfectly, right? And it's just one of those crazy things that we still have to this day, sitting in a box here at the shelf. You know,
That's a
so
lot better than just drinking the whole liter of Coke, because I know that
That would be
if I
bad.
did, I would die
That's
or something
right.
like that.
oh yeah,
And-
yeah. I think
and who
you'd
did
be
the
pretty
book?
sick.
And who did the burp? Maurice
The
Lamar
burp.
did the same burp as in Wacko on Animaniacs with the great Rockarati concept. So little segments. I'm a big
Boy,
fan of
Jordan,
that
you've done
show
your
as well.
homework, haven't you? Holy smokes. That's
Did
great.
the whole burp, and it's still, I still laugh at it to this day.
Yeah. I have to say though, you know, the other scene that, you know, Will did where he's sitting in the kitchen and he's like, you know, I'm gonna make pancakes, and he puts all that candy in his mouth and he's eating all that chocolate. He was so sick after that.
Oh,
He was not feeling very good after that. The rest of the day, he was feeling pretty rough. But you know what? He's a trooper, and he did his, you know, what he does. He's a great actor. But I know he looked when Jon Favreau, the director, said, "Okay, that's great. Well, we've got enough." The look of happiness of not having to do it one more time was yeah. So when he saw our rig for the Coca-Cola, he was super happy. He was like, "Oh, great! I don't have to come and drink all this pop all night." I was like, "Absolutely." So yeah, no, like I say, it's those little scenes that make you smile, and especially for myself because I know the backstory to it. So
That's what we love to hear, is all the
yeah.
backstory.
So Jordan, what do you have a favorite scene?
do
in
I
it?
have a favorite scene? You know, I have to say that it's the scene where he's sitting in the toy shop, and he's sitting there and he's cranking, and it goes up, right? And he goes, "Okay, great," and he puts it off, and he cranks, and the music plays, and he goes off. And in that scene, the director asked me. He said, because we specially built one of the Jack in the Boxes on a remote control rig so that we could pop it anytime we wanted to. But I was told, don't do it the same every time. I don't want Will to anticipate it. And I don't want Will to know which one it is. So it could be the first one, it could be the second one, it could be you can't know. So we would literally mix them up as Will was talking or getting his makeup touched up. We'd mix them around, and then, okay, here, Will, and they roll. And what you saw was exactly Will's shock and surprise when that one cranked, nothing happened, and he's looking at it, and all of a sudden it pops and he gets all mad. That to me is one of the funnest scenes, because I got to just sit there on the button and hit the button and scare him. And it was just joy. It was a lot of joy because he got right into it. And it was for us, it was trying not to laugh when we were shooting it, the crew, because like I say, they knew I was going to do it, but he had no idea. So it was just, it was just fun. But that movie had so many wonderful scenes that were just so great. Just the simple scene of him singing in the shower, when he goes into the shower room and he goes to sing. It's such a great scene, and it's so simple. And when he runs out and runs into the lockers, and just about knocks himself out, it was just really nice, and like I say, and you look at that scene and you think, well, what special effects were there? Well, that wasn't a real bathroom, so we had to have the water, hot and cold running water for the actress. We had to have a drain, of course. We had to create the steam between her and the camera. We had to steam up all the mirrors. We had to create the steam in the room. But if anybody asks, well, what are the special effects? Well, like, it just looks like a bathroom to everybody else, right? So it's little things, it's the little things of my job. And I think that's what I like the most about what we do, is when someone says to me, well, what did you do in that shot? Well, what were the special effects? Well, I don't get it. And people understand, when I blow up something really big, or do a big shoot up or a big fire, people get that. They understand that. They visually see what we did. but it's the little things. It's the snow dressing on Elf. People go, "Oh no, you didn't snow dress that." And I go, "Yeah, we did. We dressed football fields of snow." And they're like, "No, they just shot that in the winter." I'm like, "Yeah, we shot it in the winter, but there was no snow anywhere. It was super warm." So, that's what I love about, what I do and what this movie brings is there's a lot of scenes like that are just gems,
They did
hidden
unique,
gems.
yeah, they did unique snow dressing. It's a Wonderful Life too, which is another great classic I love to watch every year. And is it okay if I show you? I don't have like that specific Jack in the Box, but okay, Mom's gonna show you my Jack in the Box. I got it for Christmas last year, and Becca and
Sister.
my sister
Nice.
it's like let's try to go for an antique thing.
Nice.
Am I
This is the front. This is it's gonna pop that way.
I was gonna pop this way. Hang on. Okay. Oh, I gotta try to do this.
All the way. Every time.
See,
Flash.
it even scared me then. That's exactly, it's fun. Just fun. I love it.
Oh, yeah, the vintage stuff that still holds up. It's this might be from the 60s or something.
So how did
That's a
you
beauty.
do-
I love it.
how
Yeah,
did
that's
you do
great.
the scene where a buddy's leaving the North Pole and Mr. Norwal comes out and says,
Actually, that
"Bye, buddy."
actually the cinematographer was like, I know just the guys to call, and so he calls these stop motion guys called the Chiodo brothers, Tony Chiodo and others. They worked on this crazy movie called Killer Clowns from Outer Space. and they did the stop motion effects for the film as part of the visual effects photography. But I think you snow dressed the North Pole set or something. I don't know.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely. We built that here in Vancouver. We have a like a big fair. It's called the Pacific National Exhibition, and it's a bunch of big, barns, basically big old cattle barns. And we took one of those big old cattle barns and we made the exterior of the North Pole. So where you saw the snowman moving around and the exteriors where he's, walking across the tundra, and then when he gets onto that ice floe. And we built a pool on that set. And then we had a special rig where when Buddy jumps on that chunk of ice, that set piece, we dragged him across on some cables and a tracking system to pull him across so that he can just float, nicely across. And then just like you said, Jordan, in post, they did all of those extra add-ons with the narwhal and all the guys saying, "See you later, buddy," and all that stuff. That was all done in post. So, like I said, Jordan, you've done your homework. Holy smokes. You know more about this show than I do, I think. My
Yeah.
goodness.
I see something special right behind you. It's Santa's clausometer.
It is. Absolutely. Yeah. Here, let me just grab it. I'll just grab it down.
Yeah. Ooh, wow.
So I don't know if you can see that there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
You plugged it in.
It's
yeah. So what I did was after the movie, I was lucky enough to get the dashboard, and we made it so that it was on some servo, so I could just plug it in like I did now, and see all the things moving. So all the lights turn off and on, just like it did on the day. We had more control when we had it on set. We would be able to manipulate all the different gauges individually and the lights individually. But this little rig here that myself and my guys rigged up was basically for my office, just so I can enjoy it. So But all this is custom made, right? Like every little bit of this, including the metalwork on the back, was all custom done. It took the gentleman that did this backing piece hours to make that, because he had to make every individual little swoop of the metal with a special device. It's incredible. So yeah, I'm lucky to still have a part of it. Yeah, it's a crazy story that I have for how I got this, and that is that I ended up getting a phone call at the very end of the movie. They were telling me that it was going to be that they were getting rid of the sleigh, the Santa sleigh, and I said, "Oh, okay, it's their property, they own it, it's theirs to deal with." And they said, "No, what they're going to do is they're going to crush it. They're going to send it to the scrapyard. They're going to smash it all up and send it to the dump." And I was like, "What are you people crazy? Like, we spent so much time making all the parts. We made all of the metal parts for the bottom of that sleigh. And then the construction department, we worked with them hand in hand to build Santa's sleigh. So we built all those parts together. And when I heard that they were going to crush it all, I was just sick. I was so sad. And then all of a sudden, like a week later, someone comes up to our special effects shop with a box, and they go, "You didn't get this from me." And they left the box. It was all sealed up, and they drove away. And I was like, "Okay, that's odd." So I opened the box, and that's what was inside of it, was the dashboard. And I phoned that person up. I said, "How in the world did you get this?" And he goes, "Look," he goes, "I know how many people and how much time you all spent getting that sleigh to look so amazing. And it broke my heart when I was standing there watching them crush it. And I saw them pull that out and put it aside." And he said, "It accidentally fell into my truck." And and I was like, "Well, thank you very much." And he said, "Look," he goes, "Don't tell anybody you got it from me, and definitely don't tell anybody for a few years." And so it literally sat in a box here at our special effects shop, sadly, like a lot of the things we build, for years. I totally forgot all about it. And one of my crew was cleaning off a shelf and said, "Hey, what's this?" And I said, "Oh, I don't know." And they go, "It looks like some kind of mechanical thing." And I was like, "Well, bring it down." And so they brought it down. And then I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's the elf dashboard. I can't believe we still have that somewhere." Again, like I say, totally slipped my mind. And then I had, one of my team build the mount for it out of wood. And like I say, the rest is history. It sits in my office here. So yeah, so crazy things like that. That's what happens in my world, is that you get very lucky with people that want to do you a favor, and this is one of the nicest favors I've ever had. So
Well,
yeah.
I am glad you saved that piece of history, because that is like your Mona Lisa, your A Starry Night, your Renoir, your Rembrandt, your Van Gogh,
Absolutely.
Monet.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I've had the fortune over the years to work on, like I say, a lot of great movies. And I just sold our Friday the 13th mask from one of the Jason movies, when we had this big prop auction that happened in LA a few months back. And it was just a case of, I just wanted somebody else to enjoy it. And it had gone to all of my kids' show and tells. When my kids were growing up, they take it to show and tell and show their classmates and stuff and things like that. And it just was sitting in a box, and it just seemed like a waste. So like I say, if I could share these things with others, that's the most important thing. But that one will always be with me. That's one of the ones I know I'll never sell. So
I know that is definitely that is definitely your masterpiece. Your
There you go.
In your mind.
Yeah.
my mind. Well, I think in
Yeah.
your mind that's like your masterpiece. But
yeah.
at least I know you're gonna get an opportunity to build after this strike ends. You're gonna get an opportunity to build some more cool things. I don't know
Oh,
if
yeah.
it ended or something. I don't know. I'm just trying to protect myself, but I know that the holiday season is coming up, and tomorrow is the Elf 20th anniversary. So I decided to do this call in honor of the Elf's 20th anniversary, and I'm I mean, maybe if you have like special stuff like that in the future, we probably should just I don't know, it's just a weird thing, but the whole world right now it's crazy and it's going green, but you can tell that it's like I am the minister of Christmas spirit in this house.
That's right.
I think it might be because of this movie and stuff.
You have any
Yeah.
other great stories or things that you think are important to mention about Elf?
You know what? There are so many things, and I have to say that, you know, that movie was, and I think I already brought it up, but it was such a team effort. You know, it was not the kind of movie that one person can be said. You know, Will, of course, is the star and makes that movie what it is, the magic that it is, the warmth that that movie has for everybody. But it was just everybody's, all the technicians as well that, you know, are here in Vancouver and in New York that put their hearts into it, you know, and from the costume department to the hair department to, you know, just the amazing visual effects department at the time. The visual effects supervisor, here's one, Jordan, I bet you don't know. Let's see if you know this one. The visual effects supervisor on Elf, do you know what other famous show he has been the visual effects supervisor on? Now, he's been on a lot, but I'm thinking of one in particular that was a TV series from England that was made in England. And it was a period show. You know what I'm talking about? What show? Maybe you didn't watch it.
I mean, mom and dad usually watch the British shows and stuff.
So
Yeah.
Game of Thrones is the one.
Thrones.
Yeah, Game of
I
Thrones. So
love
he
that show.
My brother.
he is. Yeah, the
watched
visual
it a
effects.
lot.
Right. Yeah, Joe Bauer has done a ton of stuff, and Elf was one of his very first movies. You know, as an up and coming visual effects supervisor, and he's, you know, gone on to do many other amazing things. But Game of Thrones is one of his biggest. He won my goodness, I think he won 8 or 9 Emmy awards for that show. So very amazing guy, and to be able to shoot in camera that forced perspective. So when Will's sitting in the classroom, and Will looks even exceptionally bigger than the rest of the classmates, that was all done with tricks there on set. It's all about how we angled him to the camera, how the set was specially built. So it gives you the impression that Will is, you know, 5 times bigger than those young actors that we had on set. The same goes for when, you know, he's sitting on Papa Elf's lap,
Elves, not
you know,
Papa.
and he's riding the bike or any of that stuff. You know, all those things were all done with forced perspective. And it's just amazing. We spent a lot of time doing it. And the big reason is that Jon Favreau wanted to shoot that movie old school. He wanted to have those in-camera effects just like they would have done back in the day. And it worked out perfectly.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
you know, now, Jordan, is there any one scene, or maybe there's a couple of scenes in this movie that you just absolutely love? Like that are your favorites?
Oh, okay. So I had the privilege of talking to the mailroom guy in this movie. Apparently his name is Mark Axon. The only other thing I know him for doing is he played Lord Turok on My Little Pony Friendship is Magic G4. Yeah, I was a brony. And another My Little Pony actress, Brenda Crieslow. She's one of the people who sees Miles Finch, the South Pole elf, walking towards the conference room. And
So which one was
So
your
what's your
favorite?
favorite scene?
The
mailroom?
when he, I mean, I'm a huge fan of when Will Ferrell is like dancing to whoop there is and stuff, and it's like it's like an awesome surge of most of the people in that room were
Yeah.
guys, and
So here's a question: was that really Will Ferrell doing the dancing?
Well, it was. There was Will did some of it, and then we had a double that was a Russian dancer that would do a lot of the bigger, wider shots that were behind Will.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But because that particular scene was one of the last scenes that we shot in
This
the
is what
movie.
Mark Axon told me.
Yeah, and we
Improv.
Don't interrupt.
Yeah, and I was just gonna say that it was very late in the morning, like I think it was 3 or 4 in the morning, and we were getting Will to try and do this dancing over and over. And what we did, the stunt department did rehearsals with Will, knowing that he'd have to do this over and over, and it's hard on your body. So Will is wearing a harness with the wires that were taken out later in post-production when he was doing a lot of the dancing. So Will didn't have to crouch down as hard on his body like the Russian dancer double that we had. Will was supported a little bit. So, but I have to say, Will did it over and over and had all that energy at 3, 4, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, hours and hours of doing it. And he still, that was like, he was just amazing, just amazing. So,
Yeah. So so I know about the improv thing. I've talked with Mark Axon before, and now I'm talking with you. So it's like I never anticipated I would become a fan of this film, but after multiple DVD plays each year, I was like, yeah, this is awesome. This is a great movie. And Dad, I started quoting on back and forth and stuff, and it got some big box office too, and actually launched the directing career of Jon Favreau. He ended up directing Iron Man,
that's
and
right.
he ended up making the first 2 seasons of The Mandalorian with
Mhm.
thank you.
Uh-oh, here it goes.
Ah,
He's got so much memorabilia.
but this
Oh,
little
gosh.
fellow.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
there he is.
Baby.
Yeah,
I
that's
love-
awesome.
So how do
That's
you
great.
get involved in this type of work? I mean, sounds like you have maybe some engineering experience, or how exactly did you get going?
You know what? I've been doing this job coming into this next year, it'll be 38 years I've been doing this job. And it's a long time. I know. Yeah, it's kind of surprises me as well. I started off doing volunteer work at a cable TV station in my neighborhood when I was in high school. And I thought I was just fascinating that there were cameras and cables and things like that. And I was one of those people that was always good in wood shop and metal shop, but I never wanted a job. I knew I wanted to do something entertainment because it just was different every day, but I didn't know that there was a job called special effects, what I do now. And at the time in Vancouver, there was really nobody doing it. There's only a few people doing it. And basically what I did was what movies or TV shows that were shooting here in Vancouver, I forced myself onto those sets. I would stretch the truth, we'll say, and tell them that I was in the special effects department and I had to go give them a message. And sometimes it worked and I get to go meet the people working on the show, and other times they'd be like, get out of here. And you know what? Persistence paid off. And I was lucky enough to work with some really amazing mentors that have, now retired many years ago. But they gave me a break. And bottom line was, I didn't have any post-secondary education. I didn't have an engineering degree or anything. A lot of it is definitely learned on the job. Like all my pyrotechnic experience was learned from all the mentors I had. It just, there was no place to go to that could teach me how to, like, where do you go? And there's a curriculum for blowing up a car. Like people be like, no, you go to jail if you blow up a car.
I know.
I want to pretend how to, shoot people with bullets. And they're like, no, you're not doing that. You're going to jail, so there was a lot of that happened in my career where I just showed an interest and I said, how do I do this? And someone would go, well, this is how you do this is how we do that. And I just slowly worked my way up that ladder. And then again, I know everyone says you make your own good luck. And I think that's very true in my situation. And that was lots of hard work and just always never saying no. I've always, if I didn't know how to do something, I'd fake it. I'd go, sure, I know how to do that. And then I would just
Figure it out.
Yeah, I'd figure it out. I'd go home on the weekend and I'd go, how do I use this tool? And I'd read up, because back then there was no internet. And I would go to the library and read how to do a tool, or I knew a friend that knew how that tool worked or how to make that thing. And I would go, teach me how to do it on the weekend. So, nowadays, and luckily there are a lot more courses, especially here in Vancouver, because the film industry is so big, the film and TV industry, to learn how to do this stuff. And, I still mentor a lot of people, young men and women, to teach them how to do my job. Because, the day is going to come when I just don't feel like doing it anymore. Because it's a lot of long hours. It's a lot of, I've been fortunate to work, around the world on movies and stuff. And it wears on my family, because I have my beautiful, wonderful wife and understanding wife, Gina, and my 3 kids that are now all in their 20s and 30s. But it wears on that, right? And that's what my career it's been tough on them different times. And other times, they've really had to enjoy some of the stuff I've done, because I've done Muppet movies. I've done, all kinds of stuff.
Which Muppet movie did you work on?
I worked on Muppets Wizard of Oz, and I worked on Muppets Christmas Carol. I think it was a Muppet Christmas. Yeah.
Very Merry Muppet Christmas movie.
I think it was. Yeah. I can't remember, but I do have, here. Let's see. One of my favorite photos that I have in my office is myself and Animal.
Oh, wow. Animal.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, I'm like I say, I've had quite a career and quite a lot of opportunities to work with amazing actors like Animal and Kermit the Frog and Miss Piggy and like I say, you name it. When it comes to actors out there, again, I've worked with a lot of unbelievable people like Robin Williams, Harrison Ford, Halle Berry, and on it goes. And I never would have guessed when I was younger that I would have this as a career. It just didn't seem like something that was even out there. But now it's just something that there's a lot of people, young people, that they strive to do this job, and it's great. Like when I started, there was only like 4 people in the union here in Vancouver that did special effects. Again, what I do. And I didn't want to become a member of that union when they asked me, because I said, well, if I get to become a union member, will I not be able to work in other jobs? And like, well, we'd rather you work on union shows. And I said, okay. But I thought, oh my gosh, these 4 other people have to get jobs before me. I'm never going to work. Like, this is, there's not that much work out there for us. And I'm number 10 on the list. And now there's, I don't know, I think there's 2,000 members. So being number 10 on the list is okay.
Wow.
It's kind of strange, but anyways. So yeah, no, it's a crazy job.
Well, I'm not a member of a union, but I'm able to teach myself anything. Matter of fact, I'm able to teach myself some of the latest and greatest skills. I what I did on my YouTube channel recently? I just used a special AI voice changer, something that the actors are all striking against and stuff. And instead of just trying to infringe upon an existing actor's rights, instead I made Bing Crosby, who has been dead ever since 1977, sing "All I Want for Christmas Is You, Baby," instead of Mariah Carey.
And it sounded great.
That is amazing, Jordan. Nice work. That's great.
Yeah, I have a very powerful system that can pull off stuff like that. I'm able to teach myself prompt engineering. I have nearly a year experience. I'm able to teach myself mobile app development. I've developed mobile apps for other people this year, and I expect to do even more next year. And we're in the process of wrapping up this year so we can have an even better year next year, because what I do, I'm freelance technical consultant. I can, for regional purposes, but not nationwide. But I can just teach myself anything involving computers, because I've tried one time with a crochet and in a tent with Mom, and I just didn't do well.
So Jordan is a very high functioning autistic person. Diagnosed when he was 3, and he has done fantastic as an adult.
Yeah.
I can see that. I got a feeling, Jordan, you are nothing but energy for your parents. I think that you just
Yeah, I
you're that
am.
Energizer bunny that never stops. I got that feeling, having a YouTube channel and doing all the things you just said, you should be very proud of yourself. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah, I am proud of myself. I might as well be one of the first regional people to provide AI services to certain people. I mean, some people like, oh, okay, I'll just let ChatGPT to it, but no, you gotta have a specific amount of experience just to tell ChatGPT exactly what you want. And I am able to teach myself how to give it exactly what I want, like bend and manipulate to my will as if I'm the puppet master. Like pull the strings. You can
Nice.
create those kind of puppets, like pull the string, pull the string.
So, Jordan, do you have any other questions about Elf that you haven't had answered? Because, like I said, you've done your homework. Now, I'm just wondering if there's anything that when you've watched that movie, you've gone, I wonder how they did this, or I wonder how that happened, or, like, for instance, did you know that there was a couple of scenes in the movie that we shot that never made the movie?
I actually seen some deleted scenes, but
oh, good.
I don't know if I have seen all the deleted scenes because some of them were like on the DVD, but not all of them. I think some of them feel like, I don't know, maybe someone they gotta tell Warner's to dig up these deleted scenes and rescan them and get
I
them
agree.
or something like that.
Yeah, I'll give you 2 scenes that I don't think are on the deleted scenes on the DVD. Maybe one of them, part of it is, but not all of it. We did a scene where they were playing hockey, where Will is playing on the hockey team, and basically he gets hit and he goes flying into the bleachers. And we made a rig where everybody was sitting, all the stunt people were sitting, and when we had our stunt double of Will hit it, we split the bleachers in half and everybody slid down into Will. And that was a huge build for us. It was very complicated to build it. And we shot it. And when I went to the movie theater, I was like, where's the hockey scene? That was a big deal.
I saw that in the trailer. I remember.
It was in the trailer, but not in the show.
Yes.
Yeah. And then when Will is talking about when he left the North Pole, he says, I went, like they ask him, how did you get here? And he, over the gumdrop forest and so on and so on.
The 7 wait, the 7 wait, I've traveled through 7 levels of the candy cane forest, past the sea of swirly, twirly gumdrops, and then I walked through the Lincoln Tunnel.
Exactly. So I have here, hang on a second. I should have pulled the picture out, but I've got a picture of, where the heck is it? Of that gumdrop sea somewhere here.
This might be the first time anyone's really gonna be seeing this.
That's right.
It's a big deal for me as a fan of this film.
So here's one shot of it. Like that's the rigs that we built to move all the ocean. So they were on big wheels, and these pieces of the ocean all move up and down, right? With the gumdrops on them.
Oh, wow.
And then there's another one of it.
Oh man.
Yeah. And then here, I got another one for you. And then that's when we're shooting it. Old school with the old film camera. I'm gonna make that so you can see it a bit better. And let's see, what else have I got? Yeah, and then there's this one here. So yeah, that one there. So that shows you the ocean as well, right? So you can see we had all the gumdrops on there and the ocean and stuff. So that's a scene that we spent a lot of time and money doing. And it didn't make the movie, right? That's just the way it goes, so yeah, but then there's scenes where we have the like the Keebler elf shot, where the elves are all running away from the tree. And that was just pure fun and joy doing that because it was just silly, right? And we built that whole tree out of steel. It was all made of, the leaves were steel, everything was steel, so we could burn and burn and burn it. And yeah, again, a forced perspective. We had all the fire right by camera, and all the actors were really, really far back. So it looked like they were, it was right over top of them, but in fact, they were very, very safely away from the fire. So, it was the joy of tricking people because of one-dimensional, your screen is one-dimensional, so you don't know depth, right? You can't tell when you're seeing it on the screen in a theater, but that's how we shot that shot. So there's two, back to what I was saying, there's two scenes that not a lot of people know were cut out of the movie, and we shot them and they just never materialized. So, but they kept all the right stuff, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they definitely did. I also know that in the scenes that did make it, there appears one actor from another Christmas classic. Appears that Ming Ming the elf is played by Peter Billingsley, who plays Ralphie in A Christmas Story.
You're absolutely right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I was quite happy when I saw him come to set, because I know that movie inside out as well, and I just couldn't believe that he was actually going to be in that elf movie. I was like, wow, that's crazy. He's all grown up. Like, he's supposed to stay a little kid, I thought, but I guess
Yeah, I'm also a huge fan of A Christmas Story as well. It's I don't have like a physical media copy, but it is on like streaming, like Max. It's called now. It's just abruptly named Max, just because they just combined HBO Max with Discovery, and then it just ended up being Max. And then I'm like, okay, I'll just have to stick with that name. And okay. Well, I'm so glad that you were able to take the time and the opportunity to talk with us about Elf today, and this is the 20th anniversary of such a great classic that I'm pretty sure people are gonna go over to big old gas convenience station like Buc-ee's where I live, and end up buying one of those elf themed t-shirts. I probably want to get some Christmas Story t-shirts this year, and I'm like, yeah, let's do that. So I'm very glad, and
It was great to have you.
Yeah,
Christmas
Fascinating.
spirit.
Thank you so much for speaking with us and sharing your time. It's very much appreciated.
You know what, Jordan and Mom and Dad, I can't thank you enough for the opportunity and the invite. It has been absolutely a pleasure to share all these different stories and pictures and things with all of you. And Jordan, when I watch the movie this year at Christmas Eve, I will be thinking about you, man.
Wow. Yeah, the best way to spread Christmas cheer is singing loud for all to hear.
Absolutely. All right, you take care, everybody.
Take care.
Thank
Bye.
you.
All right, see ya.